The following opinions are solely those of BoatTest.com and its test captain.
Hi, Captain Steve for BoatTest.com, and today I'm on a brand new center console from Robalo, the R222 ES. ES stands for expanded seating, which makes this much more family friendly, along with being fish friendly. Let's take a look as I do a full features walkthrough and a sea trial.
Let's start right in by getting around the water and see how she handles. The Robalo R222 ES has a length overall of 21 feet 6 inches, a beam of 8 feet 6 inches, and a draft of 34 inches. With an empty weight of 3,700 pounds, 1 quart of fuel, and 2 people on board, we had an estimated test weight of 4,255 pounds. With a single 200 horsepower Yamaha 4-stroke turning a 15M 14¼ Reliance prop, we reached a top speed of 43.4 miles per hour at 6,100 RPM. Her best economic cruise was reached at 3,500 RPM and 21.4 miles per hour. It was at that speed that her 5.3 gallon per hour fuel burn translated into 4.1 miles per gallon and a range of 330 statute miles, all while still holding back a 10% reserve of the boat's total fuel capacity. As for her handling, she has Robalo's Hydrolift hull, which consists of the rounded keel, 2 running strakes, and a rounded entry to the slightly reversed chine. This had us coming up on plane in 2.8 seconds, accelerating to 20 miles per hour in 4.9 seconds, and continuing through 30 miles per hour in 7.7 seconds. She comes up on plane with a 10-degree bow rise and quickly settled into her 5-degree bow high cruise attitude. Yet again, we had flat calm conditions across the state when we tested, so we can't comment on how well she handles rough conditions, but we did notice that no matter how hard we tried to induce pounding as we crossed our camera boat's wakes, she was having none of it. In turn tests, she tracked well with just a slight grab to the turn. Hard maneuvering had her ventilating the prop a bit, but under normal operations it showed no adverse effects at all, not even chine walk. Now, as this boat makes such an excellent crossover between family and fishing, let's start our tour by looking at how she handles each category. We'll start with fishing.
10-inch step brings us to an elevated casting platform where we can walk all the way around, but more importantly, notice the wraparound bolster so that no matter where we are, we have comfort when we're fishing. There's an optional filler that can go into this section here that will give us a full walk-around platform. For storage, we've got 2 30-gallon fish boxes with overboard drains and separate storage in the center. And notice the hatches are held open with tension hinges, and I love the lift and lock latches instead of the turn and lock latches. Thank you, Robalo. Now notice as we come back into the cockpit, we've got padded bolsters going all the way around the boat, so no matter where we are, we've got comfort when we're fighting a fish. These start at 21 inches and top out at 26 inches. And the cap rails, we've got rod holders, 2 to each side, this, along with the 5 at the back of the leaning post and 4 at the back of the optional T-top, give us 13 in all. Under the gunnel, we've got rod storage for 2 rods to both sides. Notice the padded area for protecting your reels. And we've got a stainless steel tow rail to give us just a little bit more safety while we're fighting a fish. Underneath the aft bench seat, we've got a 16-gallon live well, dedicated holder for a 5-gallon bucket, plus additional storage. This is also where the battery switch is. Underneath the seat back, we've got a battery charger that plugs in right underneath the starboard gunnel. Now, every fish boat gets dirty with fish guts, blood, scales. This one you can hose off easily enough. There are 2-inch deck drains to either side of the cockpit, and take a look at the hoses that are connected to those drains. Now we're going to be driving out to the fishing grounds at this helm station, which begins with an acrylic windshield mounted on top of the fiberglass console. To both sides of the center-mounted Ritchie compass, we've got recessed areas that are padded and self-draining. Just below, we've got open real estate for an optional Garmin 741 display. Over to the right-hand side, twin Yamaha command link gauges with stainless steel bezels. We've got toggle switches to both sides with circuit breakers right next to those switches. At the bottom of the port hand side switches, we've got an accessory plug. Just below that, an MP3 and USB port, all within close proximity of the 2 drink holders and the Clarion stereo. The steering wheel is center mounted and mounted to a tilt base. Just over to the right hand side, we've got the Yamaha engine control. There's an option for a steering knob that I highly recommend. Engine choices range from 150 horsepower to 250 horsepower. On our test boat, we've got a Yamaha 200 4-stroke. Just below, we have both open storage and enclosed storage. Now, whether you go with this stainless steel framed optional T-top or the fiberglass hardtop, both will give you grab handles running the full length. And notice that it's bolted into the deck that gives you 21 inches of side deck space between the frame and the bolster. The optional T-top also comes with an option for mounting an electronics box. The leaning post has a seat that's double wide and has individual flip-up bolsters. Now let's talk about ergonomics at this helm for just a moment. Even though we have a double wide helm seat, the helm itself is mounted in the center of the console. I'd like to see it moved over to the side so that we can fit 2 people here a little more comfortably. Moving down, there's a recessed area for your feet, but I would like to see that all the way flush to the deck so that you're not putting your foot on an edge. Even better, when we're in the seated position, I'd like to see a flip down footrest coming from the leaning post itself. Now let's transition over to family features on the R222 ES, beginning with the expanded seating across the transom on a fixed bench seat, 5 feet 5 inches across. And notice how it's in close proximity to the leaning post, so not only can we brace ourselves into the seated position, we also have a stainless steel grab handle going across, plus just underneath we have, on a pull-out tray, a 72-quart carry-on cooler that we can fill up with lunch. It's also an option for putting a cushion right up on top. We've got a swim platform to both port and starboard. The starboard one has a concealed 3-step reboarding ladder. Removable seat backs can go into position to both port and starboard to give us comfortable bow seating. That, in conjunction with the seat just ahead of the console, gives us a nice conversational atmosphere. An optional table can go into the center. That will also lower. A filler cushion will turn this whole area into a sun pad. The stainless steel grab rail adds to the safety, as does the 21-inch cockpit depth at the bow. Inside the console, we've got plenty of room for the standard porta potty. We can opt for an electric head. Notice the grab handle to help close the door. Now when it comes time for coving, we can anchor the R22 ES quite easily. There's an anchor locker all the way forward, and notice we've got anchor keepers. The rode can run through this notch in the gel work that's molded right into the deck, and we've got pull-up cleats to both sides. And the entertainment continues well into the night with courtesy lighting throughout the boat.
Lastly, she's also loaded with upscale features such as this stainless steel bow scuff plate, and notice how it's fixed to a molded-in recess in the stem, the stainless steel rub rail insert, and the trailer has a dual-speed winch with an adjustable clutch mechanism.
Well, clearly we've got a center console that combines comfort and utility all wrapped up into one in the family and fish-friendly R222 ES. And that's my full look and sea trial for BoatTest.com. I'm Captain Steve. We'll see you on the water.